And we're live on a Monday night following another episode of Monday Night Raw. My name's Jose Ramos Jr. Welcome back to another edition of J Area Live. Glad to see you here. Hopefully everyone had a great Monday and hopefully the week has a lot in store for you guys. Of course, we're here to talk about Monday Night Raw and the fallout. I already see a comment in the chat there by our good friend Dion who says, what a main event. Chef's kiss, bro. Definitely one for the reels. And I got to tell you, right off the top of my head, when I saw that tag team match was going to be scheduled as the main event, I was surprised. Not a lot of times we get to see the tag team championships defended, certainly for the women in the main event of Monday Night Raw, but I thought it delivered. A great showing by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez as they would challenge Bianca Belair and Naomi. And the story really heading into it was all about the tag titles, but also who attacked Jade Cargill. Now we know as of recent, Nick Aldis had a little bit of footage to reveal to the audience that, hey, the night that Jade Cargill went down and was attacked on SmackDown, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan were in attendance for that show. So a lot of fingers are pointing towards them. Don't know if that's who it is, though. I feel like it's one of those classic WWE tropes where it's one of those bait and switches. They think that it's one person, or in this case, two people, and really it's somebody else. I'm not convinced that it was Rodriguez and Morgan, but what I am convinced is that these four women went out and they stole the show. Heading into this main event, I was already certain that Penta, Kaiser, and Pete Dunne had delivered the match of the night. But these women, man, whoa. They over-delivered for sure. A fantastic matchup here. Muhammad in the chat, I see you, says happy Monday. Happy Monday to you as well. I'm glad you're here doing well and joining us. We're thankful to have you here as well, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us on a Monday night. And on a Monday night, that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez would emerge as the new tag team champions. It was about time, right? We had Bianca Belair associated with the tag team titles for the better part of 2024, right? Her and Jade Cargill had won the championships, and then soon after, they would lose the championships to Alba Fire and Isla Dawn before regaining them. And of course, Jade Cargill with the injury, someone had to step up and someone had to take that position for Jade. And who better than Miss Naomi, one of the best that the women's division has today. Muhammad says, I wish I could watch Raw. How was Raw tonight? Is it trash or was it a solid show? I thought it was a solid show. I enjoyed the matchups here. It was a big step up from what we saw in SmackDown. SmackDown, I thought, was a weak episode. There were times where even I, and I'm a diehard fan when it comes to it. When it comes to pro wrestling, I love watching it. But on Friday night, there were times where I was like, wow, we still got another hour left, and it was kind of dragging here. But nonetheless, the triple threat match that opened, Penta versus Kaiser versus Pete Dunne, with those type of names, how could it not deliver? A fantastic showing, and we saw Kaiser get the victory, which I thought was a great call. Kaiser gets the victory over Pete Dunne, so this protects Penta. Penta technically doesn't suffer the loss, but it also elevates Kaiser to another level there. So I like what I saw there. A great showing by all three individuals. We had a solid Intercontinental Championship matchup between Lyra Valkyria and Dakota Kai. With now that in the rearview mirror, we know Lyra Valkyria successfully defended her championship and looks to Ivy Nile, who is apparently next in line for that title. Also, the New Day get a victory over the LWO, solidifying their heel run and continuing to get them a little bit of heat there. So that was cool. Braun Breaker decimates Dominic. What would you expect, right? But that main event, man, between the tag team champions, the then tag team champions, Naomi and Bianca Belair versus Judgment Day's Morgan and Rodriguez, that stole the show for me. A great showing. Edge of your seat type of action, near fall after near fall. And I gotta say, heading into it, they showed that video package that really recapped the last 3 months ever since Jade Cargill went out. And it got me thinking, man, they might change the titles here. Because every time they do that kind of a recap, it's almost like putting a bow on the story. And so I thought, okay, we're going to get new champions, but is Jade going to appear? And I was very, very sure that Jade was going to pop up, and she didn't. We're going to save that for another day. Maybe after the Chamber. We'll see, though. But I do think we're going to see Jade Cargill any day now. Any day now. A solid show, I thought, from Monday Night Raw. Again, a big step up from what we saw on Friday night. I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat there. What you guys thought about Monday Night Raw. If you saw it, if you haven't, hey, do yourself a favor. Double check it on Netflix. It was worth a look. Definitely worth a look. In other news, we have our poll going up, or rather, it's already up for Thursday's live stream. We have our 4 options: the Ninth Wonder of the World, the rise and fall of China. We also have Becoming the Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior story, and his controversy surrounding his life. Then there's also the case of the canceled or failed gimmicks in the WWE. An extensive list there that we could certainly tackle. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone there. I would love to see what is the genuine consensus here, the general consensus when it comes to what we want to talk about on Thursday. Usually goes on Sunday. Those polls usually go on Sunday. We're a day late, but nonetheless, it's up and running. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be for Thursday. Wednesday, we're going to have our predictions video coming up for the Elimination Chamber event. We're going to discuss who's going to win the men's, who's going to win the women's, the non-sanctioned matchup, and of course, the tag team matchup between Nia Jax, Candice LeRae, Tiffany Stratton, and of course, the WWE Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus. Should be a solid show. Looking forward to the Elimination Chamber as well. After that, we have Thursday's live stream. We already talked about that. Friday, we'll have a fun little video, something unique, a talking point for our wrestling fans out there. Saturday's the Elimination Chamber, so you better believe we're going to have a live stream following that event, and then there's Sunday's stream as well. So a little bit of a busier week when it comes to the live streams. And again, some other news. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but we finally got merch going. I know I hinted at moving towards the merch, and I said maybe not in the next week, but we got going on it, and we spent a good chunk of the day handling that. So the merch is now in the description, as well as its own tab on YouTube. So if you're interested in purchasing some merch and joining in terms of repping the J area, please feel free to do so. I know I'm going to get my merch. That way I can wear it on the streams, because there's some things I'm looking at. I'm already looking at like the bucket hat, some of the stickers. I know there's one t-shirt that I'm really looking forward to because of the colorway. Super excited though. Super excited. It's another leap into the foray that is this venture of YouTube, and I'm so excited to be able to share that with you guys. And I got to thank you guys, of course, because without your guys' support, it would not be possible. It would not be possible. So to see that as the next step in this, in this venture, it's awesome. Super awesome. And we're working on that P.O. box. But I'll let you guys know when that's up and running. I see the hearts in the chat. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for the love there. But it's exciting. An exciting time for the channel as we continue to move forward in the next step, in the next evolution of the J area. It's a movement. It's growing. It's ever growing at this point. So make sure that you join the ride as we continue to head in that direction. We're looking to do more live streams, expanding to TikTok as well. So a lot of possibilities there. And then we're going to just keep going from there. Super exciting. Again, shout out to everybody in the chat there. And a big shout out to our members of the Main Event Mafia, who, again, one of the diehards. You guys are continuing to show your support and show your investment in this, and we can't thank you enough for that. So appreciate that. Again, another shout out to those from yesterday's live stream who joined us on the Sunday stream, where we ranked the Elimination Chamber matches all the way from 2002 to modern day 2024. We ranked every single one of them, 30 plus matches. So if you missed that live stream, go ahead and check that out in the archives. It's still available for everyone to see. And on that stream, we had some MVPs. Some MVPs on that stream. I mean, shout out to Gabs, shout out to Martin, Charlie, Mama Ramos, and of course, San Fran 5. Shout out to you guys as well. Thank you so much for your generosity and your continued investment and belief in what we're doing here. So a big shout out to them as well. It's awesome. An awesome time to be a wrestling fan. If you guys haven't seen, we did also upload the latest episode of the J Area Wrestling Show. We talked about The Rock and Cody Rhodes and that segment on Friday night. What'd you guys think of that? Seeing The Rock reappear on WWE TV and alluding to his history with Cody Rhodes. It's been up and down. It's been up and down with The Rock. You know, sometimes he's a heel, sometimes he's a babyface. People talk about how The Rock is one of the greatest of all time, and he is, for sure. Not a doubt in my mind. He's one of the influential pieces that really brought me to pro wrestling. And without The Rock, I don't know if I'd be as big of a fan, quite frankly, because he was on top when I was a kid. But this latest iteration of The Rock, right, the final boss, it's been a revelation for WWE TV. It's taken the Vince McMahon heel authority figure and taken it to an 11, because now not only is he a force of authority, but a physical threat as well. I mean, you look at The Rock and he walks into the ring. He's a force to be reckoned with, right? But this final boss gimmick really comes down to one thing, and I feel like it's either a midlife crisis or it's like The Rock having schizophrenia. Because at one moment, he's a good guy, talking great with the crowd, hyping up Cody Rhodes, hyping up the business that the WWE has been performing in the last year and a half. And then in the next moment, he's cutting a heel promo and running down the local town. And it's like, you got to stay in your lane, Rock. You can't be jumping back and forth and giving us whiplash every time you decide to make a character quirk. That's just my 2 cents. Love The Rock and what he does, but some of his segments, some of his promos aren't really what they used to be. There is nobody in the WWE, quite frankly, that can stretch out a promo like The Rock. This man took, I think, 10 minutes at least during that promo saying that he wants Cody to turn into a heel and be his champion, be his corporate champion. He took 10 minutes, and that could have taken like 2 minutes of a promo. This man knows how to stretch that bad boy out like it's elastic. I don't know. But hey, we still love him, right? We try to. You know, no matter how bad it can be for him, whether it's on the box office or in the WWE, we look forward to what's going to happen in Elimination Chamber. The Rock's going to be there. He's already confirmed. He's going to await the answer of Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, and to see, is he going to be his corporate champion? I think he's not going to be, quite frankly, my opinion. Love to throw it out to you guys, the members of the J area, on what you thought about the Rock segment, and what do you think moving forward the direction of the Rock and Cody Rhodes will be. A lot of questions left instead of answers. So it's an interesting time here in the WWE, especially being that we're in the build to Elimination Chamber. But once we finish Elimination Chamber, we're putting pedal to the metal because we're full go for WrestleMania 41. Nothing is in our way between now and Vegas. Once you get through the chamber, all sails ahead, right? But nonetheless, Monday Night Raw opened up with 3 members of the Elimination Chamber matchup: Logan Paul, CM Punk, and to see those 2 individuals, you know, get together in the ring. It's interesting, right? Because you saw the contrast in style is really Logan Paul being the new generation and CM Punk, of course, now entering the point of his career where he's the veteran, he's the grizzled vet, the older guy, right? I don't know what they have in store for this chamber matchup. I know who I think is going to win, and I know who I think should win. Won't share that here today. Sorry to burst your bubble there, but you're going to have to tune in Wednesday's video to see who I think is going to emerge victorious from each respective chamber matchup. I feel like some are more obvious than others, but nonetheless, it's still a good talking point heading into the chamber matchup. Want to hear from you guys in the chat, though. Again, we always appreciate you guys coming and showing up and showing out for these live streams. It's always a great time to interact and have a conversation, whether it's pro wrestling related or not. It's always a great time to see you guys and see familiar faces and see our friends out here on YouTube. But yeah, don't forget about the poll. Like I mentioned earlier, don't forget about the poll for Thursday's live stream. We got to make sure we get those votes in. That way we know exactly what we're going to be talking about. And I don't want a tie. The last thing we need is a tie. Can you imagine? We get into Thursday morning and we start to prep for the stream and it's a tie? No way. We flip a coin at that point. At that point, we'd have to flip a coin. But I don't think so. These last several polls when it comes to the Thursday stream have been consistently like blowouts. And I try to provide a little bit of variety. Where it's like, okay, maybe one week we can talk about a list. Maybe one week we talk about the dark side or whatever the case may be. Try to give it a little bit of variety because maybe there's one week we want to talk about something else. But consistently, man, we've been going after these real life stories, whether it's the Macho Man and Elizabeth, whether it's the Ultimate Warrior, the Von Erichs. It's, hey, what's going on, Kevin? I see you in the chat. Kevin says, I missed you, bro. I missed you too, my man. I feel like it's been eons. It has been a minute there. But hey, nonetheless, we're glad to see you here today. Hopefully you've been doing well. Hopefully all is doing well. but I'm glad to see you here on a Monday night. We're talking Monday Night Raw, as well as a little bit of housekeeping regarding the channel. But it's awesome to see another familiar face or familiar name. I always say familiar face, but the only face you guys see is mine. But awesome. How you doing, man? Hopefully you're doing well. What are you thinking about the WWE right now as we lead into the Elimination Chamber, or even AEW, because AEW is getting close to Revolution? Kevin says, been going through life stuff, but I'm glad to tune in. Hey, we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. The stream is always a better place when we can get as many of you guys in, and that way we can just open the discussion. Awesome. Awesome. It really warms my heart to see some of these familiar names. You know, consistently always seeing guys like Kevin, Muhammad, Salvi, Sylvia, Gabs, Sanfran, Mama Ramos, Alex, Charlie. I could keep going on. There's so many people. Appreciate that. Kevin says, is Cena going to be in the chamber? He is. Cena's going to be one of the 6 competitors in that chamber matchup, a stacked elimination chamber. I mean, John Cena, Hall of Famer. Seth Rollins, Hall of Famer. CM Punk, Hall of Famer. Drew McIntyre, Hall of Famer. Logan Paul, solid. I mean, don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but he's solid. Damian Priest, former world champion. It's a stacked chamber. And Cena will be in there. What I'm interested to see is the order, right? Who's going to start the matchup? I'm thinking maybe like Seth Rollins and Damian, right? Something like that. I think Seth Rollins is going to start because you want someone that can go. Someone that can be the Iron Man. Someone that has the endurance to go. So maybe Seth and Logan Paul. Maybe. But I feel like they'll save Logan Paul for like the mid-match reveal when he comes out like number 4 and introduces a little bit of hype and energy after exiting the pod. I don't see Cena being early in the matchup. I could see him being like a number 5. If I had to predict right now what would be the order of entry, I'm thinking number 1, Seth Rollins. Number 2, Damian Priest. Let's go number 3. Maybe number 3, John Cena. Number 4, Logan Paul. Number 5, CM Punk. And number 6, I already forgot who's the last guy I mentioned. They said CM Punk, Damian Priest, Logan Paul, John Cena, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre I could see at number 6. If I had to predict, that would be my order of entry. But Cena has a good track record, man. I mean, he's been in several elimination chambers. He's won in 2006, won in 2010. So he has a few wins to his name there. And that's a big thing when it comes to the experience of the elimination chamber. He's had experience. CM Punk has had some experience. Seth Rollins hasn't had that much experience in comparison to them. Logan Paul's only been in 1. I don't think Damian's been any. Damian might have been in 1, if memory serves. He's either been in 1 or none. Drew McIntyre has had some experience. His first elimination chamber, I think, was back in like 2010. Like, dude, imagine that. That was 15 years ago. Where were you guys 15 years ago? Man, I was... Whoa. Like, what, 7th grade, maybe? I don't know. It was a long... No. Yeah, I think like 7th grade. That was a long time ago. But yeah, no, man. The chamber's looking good. Really excited for that. That'll be this Saturday. Emanating from Toronto, Canada. So you know it's going to be a good crowd. Canada consistently is Canada's, I think, easily one of the best wrestling crowds there is. I mean, I love seeing the shows with Canada, Chicago, Philly, anything in Europe. I mean, those guys get it. Kevin says Jose is our unk status. I'm done. That's funny. Hey, I love it. I'm a big fan of Shannon Sharp. So Shannon Sharp is the official unk, and if I'm in unk status, I'll take it, man. I appreciate that. I'll take that as a badge of honor. As a badge of honor. I don't know if I'm unk though. I'm 26. I'm about to hit 27. Is that unk? I'll take it though. I like it. American crowds need to take notes from European crowds. This is facts. This is facts, man. There's nothing like an overseas crowd. Those guys are rabid when it comes to these events. And it's like for anything for the smallest matchup, and they make the smallest matchup feel like it's a huge affair. You know, the American crowds, they got to step it up, and I think they've done so. In the last year, they've gotten better. They've gotten better, but it's nothing like what we saw in Paris or like what we saw in Scotland or in Germany. Like these guys bring it. They know how to bring it. That's why I'm super excited for the month of March, because we're going to start seeing Raw and SmackDown go on tour. We're going to see shows from Spain and Germany, specifically like Berlin. We're going to see them travel around. I think Paris might also be on there. Maybe I'm wrong, but like they know how to bring it. 15 years ago, I was 6 years old, probably watching Oran Punk. Yeah, Stephanie and Vince. Wild. Wild. 6 years old. I was, wow. Yeah, because I was 12. Is Tribute to the Troops still a thing? It is. It is still a thing, coming every December, but it's not treated like what it was. I remember back when Tribute to the Troops was like, they went over to like on site. So like they were in like Baghdad and they had the event outside, and it gave a real unique feel to Tribute to the Troops. I thought it was so cool to see them in front of, you know, all the troops, you know, all the servicemen and women, and they had this unique setup, and they don't do that no more. They do it more so in America, which is, I get it, I understand. I think recently it's been like in Texas, and they go to like certain like forts, but it doesn't look any different than like a Raw or SmackDown. But they still do it. And they don't really highlight it as big of a show either. It's always like that annual tradition, you know, the Tribute to the Troops, but it's not treated as significant as it once was. And I'd like that. I'd like that to change. But I remember some of my best memories when it comes to Tribute to the Troops. I remember Stone Cold Steve Austin being there in like '03. A young John Cena came out as well, and I think he received a stunner from Stone Cold in like '03. I remember like back when Raw and SmackDown would like alternate the Tribute to the Troops, and seeing guys like Rey Mysterio come out like in the camouflage, and it was always really cool. It was a special thing to see whenever they went overseas and did that Tribute to the Troops tour for them. But still a thing. Not as big as it was, but still a thing. And then shout out to NXT. NXT is going to be coming on Tuesday, and we're going to see a lot of TNA presence, right? Moose is going to be defending the X Division Championship. The Hardy Boys, the tag team champions of TNA, are going to be making an appearance to fight the No Quarter Catch Crew. I mean, dude, NXT is already consistently one of the best shows there is. But when you include the inclusion of Total Nonstop Action, you can't miss it. You can't miss it, man. It's looking good, as Booker T would say. Booker T's another unk. That's another guy that I would consider unk. I feel like I had something in my eye there for a second. But yeah, exciting time for the channel. If you guys haven't noticed, we do have merch finally going, and we're working on that PO box. Just another opportunity here to continue to expand and grow as a channel. Of course, the community tab is always your best friend. That's where we're going to be posting a lot of the information, a lot of the updates to the channel, and it's becoming exponentially more interactive and more interesting by the day. It's awesome. It's such an awesome process to be a part of. We always talk about how you can't enjoy the result without enjoying the process, right? The journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Dion, what's going on? I see you. How you doing, Dion? Hopefully you're doing well. Glad you can join us here on a Monday Night Raw. Did you see Monday Night Raw? What'd you think? That tag team match cooked. I was just talking about it. You better believe it. I think, yeah, you had referenced it earlier. That tag team match was it, man. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez win the tag titles. They defeat Bianca and Naomi. But dude, hey, I didn't think that match was going to be... Okay, let me backtrack. I thought the match was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good. Like, the near falls in that matchup, man, hey, it takes a lot. You can ask my family members. It takes a lot for me to, like, audibly gasp and, like, whoa, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'm watching, I'm analyzing it, and in my head, I'm having a good time. But for them to actually get me to pop, and, like, some of those near falls, I was like, whoa, hey, that was close. You know, it was a well done match between the four. Happy for Raquel, happy for Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan, man, has been on the run of her career, right? Since coming back at last year's Royal Rumble, she wins the Women's World Championship. She wins the Crown Jewel Championship, and now the Tag Team Championship. On a roll, on a roll. Sanfran 5, I see you in the chat. Says I have been summoned. You better believe it. How you doing, brother? Glad to have you here with us again on a Monday night. Sanfran 5 has entered the chat. Everybody, shout out to him. But it was a good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was about time. I have nothing against Naomi and Bianca. Love their work, but the tag team titles, it was kind of time for them to move. Do you think wrestlers should kick out less often from finishers? I understand they get a good pop and reaction from the crowd. It all depends, right? I've always believed it's in moderation. So what I liked about this matchup, Kevin, I don't know if you saw it, but the tag team match between the Judgment Day and Bianca and Naomi, there wasn't a lot of kickouts. It was a lot of breaking up the pins, right? So when a tag match, that's perfect. You can get away with it. When it comes to the like a singles matchup and the finishers, I do think less is more. I don't want to see everybody cook out of like every move because then it's not as special. But when you finally have a finish that's protected, and then finally someone kicks out, it's like, whoa, hey, you realize someone just kicked out. Like a fun fact, Baron Corbin, his end of days was one of the most protected finishers in the WWE, to the point where like nobody kicked out of it for, I think, maybe 6 years, 6+ maybe. And I think Drew McIntyre was the one to kick out of it. But when you protect a finish like that, it becomes a thing where it's like, whoa. Liv Morgan, her finish, the Oblivion, one of the most protected finishes, and I think Rhea Ripley is like the only one to have kicked out in recent memory. So I'm a big fan of when they protect the finish, because it makes that victory, it makes that finish just feel so much more significant. Great question there by Kevin. Sanfran says, I like raspberry tea. Shout out. I'm drinking watermelon tea. Shout out. Dion says, I did, and I feel as though it could have been better, but honestly, I'm not surprised because Jade is slowly but surely coming back. Agreed. And now I believe more than ever it was Naomi. Didn't know. It may be both. Or don't know, it may be both. It's tough. It could be both. But I do think they're doing that whole red herring where you want the audience to think it was Morgan and Rodriguez. It wasn't. I don't think it was. I'm still believing it was Naomi or Bianca. Maybe both. But I don't think we turn both of them heel. I still think Naomi. It just makes more sense. Naomi made her return at the Royal Rumble last year. She began the matchup, but all anybody ever talked about was Jade's debut, stealing the spotlight. Who won the tag team titles with Bianca? It was Jade. And then when Jade finally gets attacked and is gone for months on end, who swooped in and got all the glory and actually took the championship? Naomi. Naomi had everything to gain in Jade's absence, and she was probably the one to maybe develop a little bit of envy because of Jade's debut. Narrative-wise, it makes sense for Naomi. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was Bianca. But the only reason why I don't say Bianca is because she's a babyface. I can't see her as a heel. She's the John Cena of that division. She should be the babyface of the division. I don't think you need to turn her. I think Naomi. I think Naomi's the one that did it. Maybe Jade comes back and just ends up attacking Bianca because of association. Because I do think that the matchup we're going to lead to is Bianca versus Jade. That's the showdown. That's the money matchup between Cargill and Belair. And you know it's going to be a barn house. That's going to be a barn burner. Can't wait for that. But I do think Jade should be back any day now. Maybe at the Elimination Chamber event. If not, I'm thinking the SmackDown after. Immediately after. So I'm thinking either the SmackDown after or the Chamber event itself. But Jade is coming back soon. Oh, I saw the first line of this question, Dion, and I already love it. What do you think of that BS promo by The Rock? It was the talk of the weekend. LOL. They said it was Road Dogg writing, but never mind that. Was The Rock drunk off of the tequila? Shout out Mana. Go figure. Shake my head. Dude. I was watching that, and Muhammad, I see you. Go ahead. But I was watching that live, and I was so confused because that was the main. Okay, I'm gonna watch SmackDown no matter what. Full disclosure. But The Rock's appearance is must see because now it's like, okay, what are we doing with The Rock? What's the story here that we're telling? Because it's been inconsistent in these last 6 months. So watching that promo, I was just like, what are they doing? What's the motive here? Because The Rock would go babyface, heel. And it's like, stay in your lane, dude. Like, you can't just jump back and forth all willy-nilly. Like, it gives you whiplash, right? But then he's talking about how, dude, it got me to pop too when he says, I want that. I want that. And Cody's like, Rock, are you talking about the WWE Championship? And he says, no, I want your soul. I audibly laughed because I was like, what the hell is that? If it was I don't think it was Road Dogg writing. I don't think it was Road Dogg writing. This is The Rock. The Rock's not going to have anybody write his stuff. And you know how I know it was The Rock? It's because he went on those tangents that he always does. He managed to take a 2-minute promo and stretch that bad boy out to 10 minutes. It's like The Rock kept swerving and dancing around the whole, I want you to be my champion. I want you to be my corporate champion. That was the basis of the promo. It was all over the place. I'm willing to let them cook. I'm willing to let them cook. I'm willing to watch and wait it out. But in that moment, it's like, it leaves it confused, right? Again, I always say, the idea is there, but the execution, a little off. But we'll still watch it. I do think the tequila might have affected him though, with the mana. Muhammad, where was my girl Dakota Kai tonight? Dakota Kai was actually challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. She was going 1-on-1 with Lyra Valkyria, unsuccessful. Lyra Valkyria successfully defends that title, and Dakota Kai, unfortunately, looks like she's going to go at the back of the line for that Intercontinental Championship. But a good showing by Kai. We're fans of Dakota Kai here at the J area. Dion says, not going to lie, I heard some suggestion, Bianca versus Rhea, and that would absolutely cook, but don't think we're getting it. So now we can disregard Bianca and Naomi. Liv just won the tag titles. Might be Roxanne winning. Roxanne winning would be crazy. So if I had to go one by one, and I don't want to go and give you my prediction, but I'm going to go ahead and go with logic, right? Let's go one by one here. Roxanne wins. That's an interesting story to tell. And the thing is, we have to assume Rhea's beating Io, right? I don't think Io's winning. I would love Io to win because that's my girl. But I think Rhea wins. So her against Roxanne is compelling, and it would tell two different stories of established stars versus the young guns. And I mean Roxanne and Tiffany versus Rhea and Charlotte. So that would be an interesting one. The likelihood of that happening, don't know. But let's keep going. Bayley, I don't think Bayley wins. She was the WWE champion. She won at WrestleMania 40. And I don't see the story to be told with her and Rhea. It could be her and Io to run it back from WrestleMania 40. But again, I don't think Io wins the match. After that, we have Naomi. I don't think it's Naomi. She is fully enthralled in this Jade Cargill saga. Same thing with Bianca. Bianca, I do not think goes into the matchup and wins because her versus Rhea, that's a money match. That deserves a huge build. And not, what would it be? 6 months of a build? Or sorry, 6 weeks of a build? Maybe. Hold on to Bianca. But I'm not so high on that one. Alexa Bliss, she just came back. She's getting her footing. And I think she's going to be more, busy with the Wyatt Six. Don't see her going up against Rhea Ripley either. So that would leave us with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan could win this matchup and get another shot at WrestleMania 41. I think that was always the plan, was for WrestleMania 41. But being that we just recently saw that matchup at Raw, I think we can automatically negate Liv. So the best options here, I think, are Bayley, which I don't think is likely. I don't. And Roxanne, which would be crazy. But that's assuming Rhea wins. If Io wins this matchup and defeats Rhea, which again, I find very unlikely, then I could see someone like Roxanne and Bayley for sure winning. But I think it's tough to call. It's really tough to call. The men in the women's chambers match, Very much like the men's Rumble match, tough to call. And I love that. And I love that. But Dion says, I think Io is the best women's wrestler. Honestly, no disrespect to the other talent, but she is such a scary good commodity. That's what I've been saying. I've been a fan of Io for years now. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some kind of fan of hers since Japan. I'm not going to pretend. When I saw her debut in NXT, from there, I knew, oh, this girl got it. She gets it. She's great. And then she made the turn to like the darker version of Io, when she started having like Poppy come out and introduce her with her music. Io is, in my opinion, the best in the roster. Athletically, can go, has the aura and the charisma. I mean, she screams superstar to me. Would love to see her get another championship run, but I don't think it happens. Roxanne versus Rhea at Mania would be fire. The story behind it, too, would go crazy. Yeah, you know, I mean, being that Roxanne Perez was the face of NXT for a couple of years, they're having 2 championship reigns, and then Rhea Ripley, who's the biggest star in the company for the women's division, arguably one of the biggest stars, even including the men. There's a story to be told. And I think that's the matchup we could see. But I just don't know. Where's the heat in that? But I mean, I would love to see it. I talk about it in the sense of like stories. I'm talking about in the sense of logic, right? But at the heart of it, that is definitely a match I would love to see. Excellent point there by Dion. The Judgment Day is becoming washed to me. They need to break up. They've been really like, okay, the Judgment Day and A-Town Down Under are the 2 teams where I'm like, we're really dragging it out. You know, we're really dragging it out. A-Town Down Under should have broken up a long time ago. I want to see Austin Theory as a babyface. I think he would excel as a babyface. He has it. He could do it. If you've seen his real life interviews and his interaction with the Make-A-Wish, dude, he got it. He could be a great babyface. But to go back to your Judgment Day point, we know it's going to break up. They've had cracks for a while. It's time. And I think what they could do is you can keep the Judgment Day as is, but pull Finn out. Finn is, in my opinion, Finn is being wasted in the Judgment Day. Ever since the Damian Priest story ended, it's like, what is his direction? Finn should be in contention for the World Championship. Minimum the Intercontinental title. And we saw a hint of that on Monday Night Raw with his interaction with Braun Breaker. But Finn Balor either needs to leave the Judgment Day or needs to get kicked out of the Judgment Day because he's getting wasted there. I want to see Finn back at the top. Finn is one of my favorite wrestlers. His time in New Japan with the Bullet Club, his time in NXT, dude, I mean, come on, we could be doing so much better with Finn. And it's time that we give him a run. He held the Universal Championship for less than 24 hours, and since then, has not held a world title since. That was literally 9 years ago. And those 9 years flew like that. Finn's got to get out of the Judgment Day. Or just break up the entire thing together. Because now that JD McDonough is gone, we know that Liv and Raquel are going to stick together. I'm assuming Dom is going to stick with them as well. Carlito can go his separate ways. And I don't know, man. It's time to break them up. It's time to break them up. It's not the same. But they keep talking about maybe introducing a new member. So it's not going to happen. Who's going to be the new member? I don't know. What they could do, and I doubt it, but we know that Malachi Black was recently released from AEW. Maybe Malachi Black takes over the Judgment Day and completely cleans house. That's a possibility. But personally, if it was me, taking the pen and paper and booking the show, we're wrapping up the Judgment Day. Finn Balor is a certified superstar. And then a guy like Malachi Black doesn't need a group. Malachi Black could be booked to be like the next Undertaker. And what I mean by that, I don't mean the next dead man or being the next greatest of all time, but that special attraction, that spooky character that just seems so OP, and you had to see the entrance and you had to see the move set. The Judgment Day did its job. But at its peak, it was when it was Finn, Rhea, and Damian. Once we lost Damian and Rhea, it hasn't been the same. So I'm with you there, Dion. I'm thinking the Judgment Day needs to break up. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I used to look forward to their segments. I still do, for like comedic stuff, but it's not like before. It's not like before. What do you think of the hype for the Elimination Chamber, and does Cody turn heel? I feel like the Elimination Chamber isn't getting as much hype as it could. I don't feel like it, and I feel like it's because a lot of people have been critical of the build of WrestleMania 41. People are like, it's not as hype for WrestleMania 41. A lot of us tend to look over Elimination Chamber or Fastlane or whatever is the February/March PLE before WrestleMania. We always tend to look over it, right? But because of this run, this build hasn't really been as excellent as years prior, which I thought was going to happen. WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40, stellar builds. I mean, two of the best modern WrestleManias, in my humble opinion. So this one was never going to live up to that hype. And because of that lack of anticipation by the general audience, or rather by the diehards as well, because a lot of people are critical online, they kind of overlooked the chamber. But I look at the women's. We talked about the women's chamber, a who's who of talent, where literally anybody could win. And then the men's, stacked top to bottom. Stacked top to bottom. I hope to God that these matches deliver, because the talent is there, man. You got the ingredients, just make the damn meal. You know what I'm saying? Then we have the non-sanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That's gonna cook. In Canada, good God Almighty, that should cook. Trish Stratus returns to team up with Tiffany Stratton. I mean, dude, come on. There's no titles being defended either, which is crazy. And then we have The Rock and Cody one-on-one again for, I'm thinking, a memorable segment, because it's going to be in Canada and it's going to be at a PLE. So the hype, I think it's underrated. I don't think we're as excited for the chamber as we should be. And I think it's going to deliver, quite frankly. As for Cody turning heel, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And I look at it this way. When I talk about the WWE, when I talk about pro wrestling, I'm talking about the business that I love. It's given me so much happiness and so many memories. But at the end of the day, it's a business. We have to remember that. And Cody's the top baby face, leading the charge. He's the leader. He's the quarterback of this era. Selling merch, saying hi to kids, putting smiles on faces. Do you think they're going to turn him babyface not even a year after winning the championship? I don't think so. And if they did, bold. And that's how much hype and really trust they have in their other faces. But I do not think they turn Cody heel. At least not yet. Give him some time. I think we're going to end up seeing, I think we're going to see Cody turn down The Rock. I'm a champion for the people. I fight for the people. They were with me when I tore my pec. They were with me during the whole finish the story movement. So I'm going to stand by them the way they stood by me. And The Rock is going to have someone else become his champion. He's going to try to align with whoever wins the chamber. And I'm going to talk about that hypothetical on my predictions video on Wednesday, because I have a whole theory mapped up. I kind of alluded to it in a previous stream, but I'm going to go way in more detail on Wednesday's video when I predict Elimination Chamber. So keep an eye for that one. I don't think he turns heel. I think instead The Rock is going to have to align himself with someone else. Seth been saving the show. Not really. But his promo/match compilation is one of the greatest. Seth Rollins, I think, is underrated. You know, I feel like, okay, maybe not underrated. Maybe underrated isn't the right phrase. I think underappreciated. Because Seth Rollins, during that time in like 2018 to 2020, he had a great run there, and some people, began to sour on Seth Rollins because of his booking. But in ring, he can go. His dedication to the craft, second to none. Every time I see Seth Rollins, I'm already invested. This guy has 10 years worth of storytelling because of the evolution of his character. He's consistently been able to be a prominent character on WWE TV, and again, through different iterations of the character. You said right here, his match compilations, his quality, fantastic. His promos, sometimes they lack. I'm not a fan of the Seth Rollins where he comes out laughing, the whole ha ha ha. That Seth Rollins, the dancing Seth. I love Seth, but that's not for me. I love when Seth locks in and he's serious and he's talking to Cody man to man, saying, I know who you are. You're going to waste away a year's worth of a championship title reign. You're going to waste away what I helped you do at last year's Mania. When Seth Rollins locks in for a promo, money. Money. And then on top of that, you add the catalog of matches that he has. Bona fide Hall of Famer. Bona fide Hall of Famer. Dion says, my prediction, Roxanne for the debut. Not opposed. I think CM Punk wins. I think Kevin Owens wins. And of course, we know Trishy time will prevail. Love it. Trishy time. I love it. I like it. Again, I don't want to tell you mine because you got to tune in for Wednesday. But I like where your head's at here. This is a solid prediction. It looks good. And it should be a solid show. I'm thinking that the women's matchup, the women's elimination chamber opens. Then we get the... Oh, man, actually, are we going to go back-to-back women's segments? I don't think so. Ooh. Because the men's chamber is main eventing. It has to. And then maybe before that, the penultimate main event is the tag match. Then the non-sanctioned match second and the opener of the women's chamber? That could be a possibility. But I just think a match of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens should be going later. Or does it even open? Or do they go the old school route where it's like the non-sanctioned match happens at the end of the show because the show's already technically over? There's a lot of ways they can go with it. But every single match I'm interested. And that's the best kind of a show, is when you're invested in every match. Every segment, because The Rock and Cody are going to be there. Which, again, shout out to Cody. Back-to-back Elimination Chambers with a talking segment, because last year he was on, what was the Grayson Waller effect. He and Seth Rollins were trying to answer to The Rock and Roman Reigns, and of course that's how we knew that the tag team match was going to be happening at night 1 of WrestleMania 40. So back-to-back talking segments for our American Nightmare, both involving The Rock as well. Awesome. Awesome predictions and awesome takes there by Dion. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Anybody else there, feel free to drop in the chat as well some of your predictions for the Elimination Chamber, or just what are your thoughts on this build to Chamber and the build to Mania. Love to get your guys' input and again, continue to join in on the conversation there. But awesome points there by Dion. Thank you again for that. That was great. The Chamber usually is one of my favorite matches of the years, but in recent memory, because of the event, it kind of, for me, got a little stale. Like how Hell in a Cell became a pay-per-view, and it just became routine. It didn't feel special anymore. But I am looking forward to this year's event for sure. Does Randy Orton return and interfere in the KO Sami Zayn matchup? Maybe afterward. I could definitely see after the matchup Randy getting the victory. Because it can go either way. Hear me out here. If Kevin Owens wins and beats Sami, or if Sami Zayn beats Kevin Owens, either way, after the matchup, let's say Kevin Owens attacks Sami. And in that moment, that's when Randy Orton comes back. So again, either way, whoever wins the matchup, you can easily book Kevin Owens to do the post-match beatdown and then have Randy return. I do think Randy returns at the Chamber, though. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, if not the Chamber, it's going to be the SmackDown after. But, I mean, we can't really have two big returns, you know? Randy and Jade. They did do Randy and Punk, but, I mean, you don't want to do that to the boy again. So if I had to predict, I'm thinking Randy at the Chamber, Jade the SmackDown after. That's what I would be thinking. It's a good point, though. Good point, though. Again, great points being made here. Shout out to our friends in the chat. Dion, Mohammed, San Fran. We appreciate you guys. Kevin, we appreciate you guys always showing up for these live streams and giving us your guys' expertise and your opinion on the state of wrestling, man. Great time to be a fan. And it's going to continue to be that. Wrestling's been on fire the last, year and a half. 2 years, really. How crazy is that? This Triple H regime has been going for nearly 3 years now. Come this summer, it'll be 3 years. I'm having a ball. I'm having the time of my life as a fan because I'm enjoying the quality of matches and really the story. I'm a big story guy. Love seeing a quality story being told. But don't get me wrong, I love ring work as well. I love seeing a great matchup. That's why I think it's so important to enjoy all facets of wrestling. Some people are very story driven. They like the WWE. Other people like the in ring work, which is why people like AEW. I like both. Truthfully, I like both. Get a little bit of everything. You guys already know the time old saying, a man of many tastes will never starve. You better believe I'm going to the buffet and enjoying a little bit of everything in the world of pro wrestling. These are great points. Great questions as well by Dion. Kevin had some great points there as well. Dion also says, I think the Alpha Academy and the LWO honestly are a waste of time. And also the Alpha Academy is getting stale too. They keep losing. My boy Tozawa needs justice. I love Tozawa, man. I see that guy and I'm like, I just want to see him win. I just want to see him get a W every now and then. Otis took a minute there for me to, become a fan. Because when he won the Money in the Bank, I was like, really? Really? He won Money in the Bank. It took me a while to become a fan of Otis. But I want to see them succeed. I really do. As for the LWO, if it was just Cruz and Wild, I wouldn't be mad. But I feel like you're wasting Dragon Lee. I really do. We got to get going with Dragon Lee. He's not going to get any younger. He's a great talent as well. It's back in the 90s when we had all these factions. And I love factions. Don't get me wrong. I love factions. Oh, you mean American Made? Either way, honestly, because I love Tozawa and Otis too. But for the Creed brothers, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I think they're winning next week. I think the Creed brothers are going to win the tag titles. Just because they can't keep losing. And I think it's more plausible for them to win the titles than Ivy Nile winning the Intercontinental title. So, I mean, you heard it here first. That's my prediction. I think American Made wins the tag titles next week. I really do. And they should. Give those boys a rub. The Creed brothers are legit. Plus, it'd be cool to freshen it up. I love the War Raiders. But I do think that the American Made could really benefit from this tag title run. What's going on, Sanfran5? Appreciate you in the chat. Sanfran5, what's your favorite chamber matchup or favorite chamber memory? And Dion as well. Dion, if you have a favorite chamber matchup or chamber memory, I would love to hear it. Because there's been 30 plus elimination chambers. 23 years worth of the matchup there. So I'd love to hear from you guys on some of your favorite chamber matches or chamber memories. Or anybody else in the chat. Feel free to comment down below. Don't be shy, the water's fine. Or even if it's not the chamber related, I mean just anything. I would love to hear the stories of people and who their favorites are. Who were the guys or girls that got you into pro wrestling? The match that you remember watching as a fan that was like, you know what? I really like this thing called wrestling, right? Sanfran5 says, I feel like it doesn't get enough love, but the 2010 match where Shawn jumped The Undertaker, what a great moment. Awesome moment. We talked about that on the live stream yesterday where we ranked every chamber matchup. That surprise when Shawn Michaels comes from underneath the chamber and attacks The Undertaker to cost him the championship so that he would face Shawn at WrestleMania 26. I'm biased, but I love WrestleMania 26. That's awesome. A great selection there by San Fran, and it's involving two of our favorites. I'm a Shawn guy, he's an Undertaker guy. But that's a great match. Or a great moment, I should say. The match was okay. That's a great moment. Dion says, my favorite would be a bloody Goldberg getting beat by Evolution. Dude, don't even do this to me. Goldberg should have won that one. I think it's a very common assumption that Goldberg should have won that Elimination Chamber. Him getting beat by Evolution, dude. Come on, they didn't have to do my boy Goldberg like that. Plus, he won the world title a month later at Unforgiven. You might as well have given him the title at SummerSlam. But yeah, the sledgehammer, I remember that. They handcuffed him to the chamber, and they hit him with the sledgehammer. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did they not have the chamber start going up with him still handcuffed? Maybe that's a Mandela effect, but I could have swore he was still handcuffed when they were rising the chamber there. But a good shout out there by Dion. Sanfran5 and Dion both with solid options there for their favorites For me, I always go back to the first one. I'm biased. That first one to me is my favorite chamber matchup. It set forward the standard. It built the foundation of what the Elimination Chamber would be, and just the crowd, not the crowd, the men that were involved in that match hits nostalgia for me. Kane, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, Chris Jericho, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. I mean, dude, it's the greatest amount of talent I think a chamber has ever seen. I'm biased towards the 2002 one. That's a great one. I like the 05 one with Triple H, Batista, Benoit, Jericho, and Edge. That's a good one too. But 2002, at the Survivor Series, Madison Square Garden. I believe it's November 17th for some reason. I can remember days like that. That one sticks out for me. And a great theme song too. They had Saliva playing Always. Sanford 5 knows what I'm talking about. But just to keep updated here on the channel, Wednesday we will be having another video. We're going to do predictions for the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on the build to the PLE itself, as well as share my predictions as to who is going to win what matchup. Thursday, we have our live stream, our Throwback Thursday live stream, where we're going to talk about the topic that you all decide in this week's poll. Friday, we're going to have a fun video there. Saturday, we're going to have a live stream following the Elimination Chamber. And of course, Sunday is the Sunday live stream. So a lot to look forward to here too. Thank you guys for joining, of course. Muhammad says, didn't one of the members from Saliva have unfortunately passed away? I'm not sure, actually. I don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. Maybe. Dion says, still in my WWE playlist on Apple Music. Same. I have them with, I have multiple. I mean, Walk Alone, the Batista theme, Ladies and Gentlemen, Always, Superstar. I'm pretty sure there's another one there, but those are the ones that immediately come to my mind. Saliva, man. And shout out to the lead singer. Ooh, it's going to kill me. Was it Joey? It's going to kill me. But the lead singer also was featured in the one of the theme songs for Spider-Man in 2002, alongside the lead singer of Nickelback. Hero, dude. Takes me back. Dion says, do a WWE theme songs video. Oh my god, that'd be so cool. That's a great idea. Are we thinking theme songs in terms of like wrestlers or like the events? Because I mean, I think I like that idea. And you already know, I got my handy dandy little notes over here. Welcome to the show. Yeah, 2007. WrestleMania 23. I love it. Great idea there by Dion. I definitely will get that going. Maybe at some point next week. Just because we kind of already have the slate of videos and streams already planned out for this week. But that's a great idea. Because it's a big proponent of making a star, right? The theme song, the entrance theme. It's like for you to be able to connect. To be able to connect with the wrestlers. It goes a long way. It really does. Because you can't name a wrestler that had a bad theme song and was still a big star. All the big stars had great theme songs. It's a big part of that success of building the next megastar. I want to hear from you guys though. What is your favorite theme song or entrance theme for a wrestler? Who has the best? Gangrel had the hard theme of all time. The Brood, dude, not even the theme, but just the entrance. I mean, rising up from below and having the ring of fire around and seeing the red light and having him hold up the chalice of blood. I mean, dude, the Gangrel stuff was awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think he might have been an actual like practicing vampire or something. Like he actually practiced that kind of stuff in his spare time. But Gangrel definitely had one of the hardest entrances, for sure. Shout out there. Great shout out there by Dion. In terms of like the best theme song though, because I know I asked you guys who are some of your favorite theme songs. I think Edge for sure. Sorry, Cope, depending who you ask, has one of the greatest. Triple H has a great. Motorhead is just awesome. Motorhead is just awesome. I will send it my favorite entrance on Thursday. And will you be covering NXT tomorrow by any chance? It depends, Muhammad. That's a great question there. Shout out to Muhammad with a great question. When it comes to NXT, I don't really cover it a lot unless if something big happens, right? I know, yes, both Hardys will be there competing. So maybe, more likely I might drop a reaction video that will come out Wednesday morning, but I won't be doing a live because I don't want to conflict with Sanfran. Sanfran usually does his Tuesdays live streams there, so I don't want to combat there. But I I probably will be uploading something either on Wednesday or Thursday when it comes to NXT because NXT is cooking. Both Hardys are going to be there. Moose, the TNA X Division's champion, will be defending the title against Lexis King. Fun stuff ahead. Christian's theme song, both of them. Christian never had a bad theme song. I mean, we're talking about the early ones with the You Think You Know Me. Then he had the whole operatic theme song where it's like Christian, at last you're on your own. Then, of course, If You Close Your Eyes. Dude, never had a bad theme song. His theme song right now in AEW is fire. Awesome. Awesome shout out. Yo, I need advice for SmackDown versus Raw '06. If I were to GM mode, do I use SmackDown or Raw for tomorrow? Hey, you guys already know me. I'll throw that in the as a poll. But you already know me. I'm a SmackDown guy. I've always been a SmackDown guy. Mostly because when we grew up, we didn't have access to Raw. We only had SmackDown. And then finally when we got Raw, it was like opening up another world of pro wrestling. But I'm a SmackDown guy. Edge definitely had the best. I can't argue that. It's solid. It was solid. I love Edge's theme song. And again, he had like Rob Zombie as well. Muhammad Papa Roach. Papa Roach was cool. I liked their Raw theme song back in '06. AC/DC and If You Rock Like Me. I was never a fan, honestly. Like of the the AC/DC one. The good God, the SmackDown one. AC/DC's okay. I wasn't a big fan. If You Rock Like Me, yeah, the SmackDown theme, that was cool. SmackDown had a lot of good theme songs as well. Of course, but I'm biased. I'm a big fan of SmackDown. Sanfran says, I'll let y'all choose what to use tomorrow. Like I said, you guys already know I'm biased. So I'm going to be rocking with the blue brand. But we're going to throw that in the poll here. Let's see if I can. I'm going to throw that as a pinned comment. That way we can see. That way you guys can help out my brother here. And decide what brand to choose. And also, if you're wondering why Sanfran has the Cruiserweight Championship right there, it's because he's a member of the Main Event Mafia. And when you're a member of the Main Event Mafia, you are rewarded a championship gold right by your username. So, for example, if you become a member now, you get the NXT Championship, that developmental title that has helped the likes of Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and so many more along the way. But the Cruiserweight Championship is the second step. Guys like Rey Mysterio, Chavo Guerrero, and even Eddie Guerrero back in WCW all held the ECW Championship. So if you're interested in having a championship by your username or getting first name priority on the channel as well as exclusive content, make sure you go ahead and join the Main Event Mafia. Dion says, it's always been Monday nights for me, Jose, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to hate you for it. I grew up on SmackDown because I didn't get to see Raw. Do you guys remember on SmackDown, they would have the Raw Rebound? It was like a quick, maybe 5-minute segment where you got the recap of what happened on Monday night. That's how I kept up with Raw. Because again, the internet was still relatively new, and I didn't have a smartphone because I was just a kid. But the Monday night, the Raw Rebound was how I kept up with it. So that's where I got to see Shawn and Triple H and Evolution and Edge and all of them. But I've always been a SmackDown guy. Dion says, I want the European Championship. I'm just saying, but if you wait long enough as a member, That might be there. That might be there. But the European title is a great pick too. A lot of great European champions. Bulldog, Michaels, Hunter even held it. Owen Hart held it. And then you get to guys like, Shane McMahon and X-Pac. Right now, we're looking 50-50. 4 votes are in, and it's 50-50 right now. Hey, shout out to Big Neff Network. I see you, my friend. Hopefully you're doing well here on a Monday night. Thank you so much for joining us. Big Neff Network says Cena wins. I mean, that's the call, right? That's what we're thinking. It would make sense for it to be Cena. But I think a guy like CM Punk might have something to say about that. I don't know, man. It's a possibility. But like I said, I'll share my official predictions on Wednesday. 50-50. And any chance of ECW coming back? Not a chance, my friend. Not a chance, Muhammad. I'm afraid ECW is gone. And I don't think it should come back. I feel like that's something that should stay in the past. Because there's already been an expectation with ECW. Plus, we saw it come back already, and that attempt wasn't successful. So, I think what they could do with ECW is just do what they did with NXT a couple months ago and have a reunion show. Have some of the legends come back and get acknowledged and have a little bit of a pop there. But in terms of a brand, no. Don't bring it back. Definitely have to do a rate of the titles video. I have thought about that. That has an idea. And I was going to wait a little bit closer to like Night of Champions. But I don't think we're going to wait that long. I don't even think they're going to be doing Night of Champions this year, right? But I would love to rate them. And it wouldn't just be today's titles, because today's titles are like very redundant. They're all very similar. So I would like to do like all of them, right? The Big Gold, the Winged Eagle, the Classic Intercontinental Championship. But I love that. Dion says, Big Neff, do tell more. He wants your take, man. Dion wants your take. I'm thinking it's a solid take. On the side note, why did Tony Khan ghosted Shane McMahon in AEW? I don't think he wants any influence from the outside. We've seen Tony Khan. He wants to run the company himself, and that's fine. I get it. You're the top dog. But sometimes you need to seek help elsewhere. You want to see other people's opinions and kind of broaden your horizon. Ultimately, you do have the final say, but it's good to take into consideration other people's creative thoughts and opinions. When it comes to Shane McMahon, maybe it's because of where Shane comes from. He's from the WWE, and maybe Tony Khan is kind of trepidatious or hesitant when it comes to working with a McMahon. I don't necessarily blame him for not wanting to work with Shane, but at the same time, it's not really good business. You're kind of alienating yourself at the same time. Dion says, all time, the classics are it for me. Oh, yeah, for sure. Has to be all time. But I feel like a lot of the all-timers are going to be rated way ahead. Because what's the best-looking championship right now in the WWE? I'm thinking it's the Intercontinental Championship. Because the U.S. title, it's okay. I don't hate it. The tag titles aren't bad. The Raw ones aren't bad. The SmackDown titles are good. I like the SmackDown titles. The World title's not bad, but when you put it next to the Big Gold, no comparison. The WWE title is starting to grow on me, but again, if you compare it to the previous WWE championships, no comparison. So right now, the best championship on the main roster, I think, is the Intercontinental Championship. If we're including NXT, I like the North American title. And like I said, the NXT World title grows on me, but it's so redundant because the women's title is the same thing. And I don't like that. I don't like that we have the same thing. But the logic behind it, I read somewhere, was they wanted to keep them on the same level. And because they look the same, they're therefore equal to one another. And that's fine in terms of logic. I get that. But in terms of the optics, I would like to see the women get a more distinguishable championship, something that separates them from the men. Give them their own flavor. But that's just me. Network says Gunther got to lock that choke on tighter. Looked horrible tonight. And it all depends on who you're giving it to as well, I think. I think like if anything, he was trying to protect Tozawa. But it's all about suspending your disbelief. But I'm with you. It could have been a little bit more snug. Or maybe that was part of the plan. I don't know. Maybe it was part of the plan, Network. Maybe he didn't want to go ahead and kill Tozawa. Because God knows if he would have locked that in tighter, lights out. As we look to the poll, we got 60% SmackDown here. 60% SmackDown. What happened to Money in the Bank? Well, I mean, no one's holding the Money in the Bank contracts right now. They haven't announced where the next event is going to take place, but it's not going anywhere. Money in the Bank staying. They can't get rid of the Money in the Bank. It's one of the best matches in the year. One of the best contracts, I think. Sanfran asks, Camel Clutch or Walls of Jericho? Ooh. Camel Clutch. I love the Walls of Jericho. But the Camel Clutch is a classic. Imagine Logan with the briefcase right now or LA. I think either one's a great choice. I think LA Knight certainly should have won last year. I think him and like Jey Uso were the best odds to win it. I would love to see LA Knight win it. I think Logan Paul is a solid choice as well. I think it's great. I think he's doing great work in the WWE. As much as there's a lot of people that probably don't like that, he is doing great work. Let's be honest. Network, Lion Tamer. Oh, well, that's cheating. That wasn't an option. If that was an option, Lion Tamer's fire. The way he's really able to crank on the neck there, just visually, it looks tough. Lion Tamer. But in terms, you know who else I would kind of like to see with the briefcase? Dominic. I kind of want to see Dominic with the briefcase. Because I think that's going to be the most credible way for him to win a world championship. Because I do think Dominic wins the world title at one point. Still very young, very early in his career. But I think Dom is destined to be a world champion. And I think his best shot is going to be either the Money in the Bank briefcase or a surprise victory like Mankind in 1999. Sanfran 5 says Logan with the briefcase would work because cashing in would be unpredictable since he's rarely on TV. That's a double-handed compliment, isn't it? But it would work, and I think it fares very well with Logan Paul's character work. I think it could work. I like the idea. But the whole him barely being on TV, that's funny. That's funny. Speaking of barely being on TV, where's Roman? Because we know Roman's been out of action because of the attack by Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble. But we're getting closer to Mania. When is Roman coming back? Because, I mean, we got to start building towards his match, too. Network says Finn Balor is not tough. Braun was going to kill him, man. I love Finn Balor. That's my guy. But him against Braun is not going to work. Braun Breaker is a certified G. That man's going to put Finn to work. Roman's soft now because he turned babyface. Well, not even babyface. But he has kind of gotten a little bit off his edge. And hopefully he can find that edge. Hopefully Seth Rollins managed to stomp him back into the old tribal chief. But it is a shame. I think this chamber matchup could have been way better if they had Roman in there. Think about it. Take out Logan Paul or Damian Priest, one or the other, and you put Roman in there? Wow. It's loaded. It's loaded now. But then you add Roman? Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Roman gonna attack Seth Saturday. Yeah. But that's the thing, man. Like, Elimination Chamber, we're gonna get surprises, right? The Rock is gonna be there. I think there's a chance that Jade returns. If you ask me, she comes on SmackDown. Then Randy. I think Randy comes back at the Chamber following the non-sanctioned match. And then what about Roman? Does Roman appear? Like, damn, we're gonna have a run-in on every single match? Because maybe Charlotte gets a run-in during the tag match between Tiffany and Trish versus Nia and Candice. There's a possibility that every single match could get a run-in. But we'll see. If I had to bet money, though, Randy's the guy I would bet on to make an appearance. Maybe Roman, too. But, I mean, I just feel like Randy's the guy. He's the one that they would go with. that's a good point there by Network. Shout out to Network. Thank you again for the comments and the questions there. I would have Kofi and Woods attack somebody and get into the chamber last minute super heat. How crazy would that be? But who would they attack? Because I don't think it would work. Their heat's working, I will say that. But in terms of the chamber, because they're on Monday Night Raw, so their options would be Logan Paul, CM Punk, and Seth. They're not going to touch that. They're not going to touch that. And then why would they attack Damian? Or why would they attack like anybody else? Like the idea, but I don't think it's going to work. We all know Priest ain't winning it, so he getting it. That's terrible, man. Yeah, we know Priest isn't going to win it. But still, it's very nice of them to include a former world champion like Damian Priest. But you're right, he's not winning that thing. But shout out Damian. I'm a fan of Damian's, but he's not winning that. He's going to be busy going off into a feud with probably Drew McIntyre. Priest should bring back Los Boricuas. Can you imagine? Los Boricuas with Savio Vega? I don't know, man, though. We're kind of oversaturated with all these factions, no? Plus, I think it would behoove Priest to go solo. He was already involved with the Judgment Day for so long. He's got to go on his own. Maybe as a one-night thing, but he's got to go on his own. LWO is a joke. I hate to say it, man. I love the LWO, but yeah, they're not. It's like they're just there. You know, Cruz Del Toro and Joaquin Wilde just losing all the time. It's like they're not even a threat. Zelina's not even with them anymore, and Dragon Lee doesn't even get matches. And then as for Rey Mysterio, he's Rey Mysterio. You can't touch him. We haven't seen him since his match with Logan Paul. Maybe it's time to disband the LWO. There's some groups out there that should be disbanded because we talked about the Judgment Day. I think their time is up. LWO, I think their time is up too. And it sucks to say because I do love the Latino World Order, but I think it's time. It's time. You can still have Cruz Del Toro and Joaquin Wilde together, but I think just slowly kind of like Ray's on his own, Dragon Lee's on his own, and let them do their thing. I would love to see Penta versus Dragon Lee, though. That would be fire. That'd be a great match. Give those boys a half hour in the ring. I'd pay to see that. But yeah, it's a shame that the LWO. What's the best group right now? Bring in Mike Santana and pair him up with Damian. Now that's an idea. Santana's in TNA. They have that partnership with Total Nonstop Action. That's an idea. When are we renting the bouncy house? We gotta look into it, brother. We gotta look into that. Dion, gotta work in the morning. I missed a bit. But good night, fellas. It's been fun. Dion, it's always been real. I appreciate you stopping by anyhow. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday night stream. And hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully everything's good at work. Appreciate you for stopping by, man. Don't even worry about it. We'll catch you again another time. But thank you again for stopping by tonight. Let's check out the chat. The poll one more time. The poll is still sitting at 60% for SmackDown. I don't know if it's going to move at this point. It's been consistently at SmackDown here, which that makes me happy, being that I'm a fan of the blue brand. But it's been real. Again, shout out to Dion there for joining us on a Monday night. Thank you again for choosing to spend your time with us, homie. Appreciate you as always. Network in the chat. San Fran in the chat. I saw Muhammad in there earlier. Kevin, shout out to you as well. Trying to catch anybody else that was in the chat, though. Thank you all so much. Again, it's always appreciated to see you guys continue to show up for these streams, man. Can't thank you enough. Network says Cody gonna sell out. Nah, he's not gonna sell out. Come on, you really think so? He's not gonna sell out. American Nightmare's not gonna sell out. Not yet. Maybe one day, but not yet. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. We're not seeing heel Cody just yet. That's the American Nightmare. That's the top baby face. That's the face of the company. The quarterback, the QB1. He's not going nowhere. I think he tells The Rock to shove it. He's not gonna turn. There's no way. Hashtag corporate Cody. No, don't get that over. Nah, no way. Corporate Cody. That's funny. That's funny. But I don't think so, dude. There's no way. Whoever is next in line for the championship matchup, that's going to be the one to sell out. Nah, Network, you're playing with my emotions saying corporate Cody. I mean, you could argue he was corporate Cody back in AEW. He was an EVP. Not an EVP no more. Instead of EVP, he's the MVP. San Fran says, it's me. I'm the next champ. You're the Cruiserweight champion for now, my friend. And technically the longest reigning hardcore champion. Corporate Cody, that's crazy. Let me see something real quick. I want to see the poll. We had a poll up earlier in regards to the next live stream. Let's see where we're at there. And it looks like 27 votes are in for Thursday's live stream. And right now, as of right now, the leader, the Rise and Fall of China, with 67% of the votes. That's the one leading right now. Excellent choice there by the members of the J area. We're looking forward to it. If that's the one that ends up winning, hey, love to talk about it. Why Cody, why in JR voice? You know what? Hey, and shout out to JR. JR in recent years hasn't been, sadly the JR that we all knew and love. It's been quite a dip in terms of his work. But during the 90s and 2000s, JR was on fire. Whenever he, again, the Triple H stuff, whenever he would get at Triple H in the commentary booth, money. Where he would tell me why Triple H, tell me why. You're like, oh, it's so good, bro. JR is the best. JR is 70 plus. He is, and it shows. But I try not to look at him now. I try to remember him how he was. JR is one of the greatest of all time, dude. I love the emotion, the passion that would come out of Jim Ross every time a heel turn happened, or I'll never forget the WrestleMania 22, the hardcore match between Shawn and Mr. McMahon. JR was so anti-McMahon in that matchup. I loved it. JR is the best. An absolute legend. That's Boomer Sooner. Yeah, Boomer Sooner. Shout out Muhammad. Oklahoma Boomer Sooner. Barbecue sauce. That JR barbecue sauce. We gotta try that one day, San Fran. You think they still sell that? Oklahoma, that's right. What are your thoughts, San Fran? It's looking like SmackDown, by the way, might be the winner. And it's only leading by one. One more vote for Raw, and it's a tie. You got a preference, San Fran? He says eBay, probably. Ain't no way I'm buying barbecue sauce off of eBay. Ain't no way. He got a website. You don't think he got a plug? He got a website for that. He'd be a fool not to. People don't buy barbecue sauce. I love barbecue sauce. We just had barbecue ribs not too long ago. Ladies Man 217. Shout out Transformers. Shout out Witwiki. Man, I'm gonna tell you this. I lost my train of thought. Sin miedo. I see you. No fear. Without fear, says Kevin. Penta, dude. SmackDown team all day. I'm telling you. It's all about it, man. Big Enough Network, what if Cena sells out? Is it crazy that I never considered that? Network, I'm going to tell you right now. On God. Chills. I never thought of that. John Cena, at the end of the Royal Rumble event, he talked about how what's best for business is for me to be on top, is for me to be the champion. Cena's never turned heel. Or at least, he hasn't turned heel in like 22 years. He sides with The Rock and becomes his corporate champion to face Cody? Now that is interesting. Cena joins Dwayne. Epic heat. You're onto something. Network, you're cooking. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm so used to John Cena being the babyface. I never considered that. Imagine John and Dwayne, the two biggest stars of the last 25 years, Dwayne The Rock Johnson of the Attitude Era, John Cena of the Ruthless Aggression and PG Era, teaming up against Cody? Maybe even Roman, because I think Roman versus The Rock is still very much on the table. The stars of the past against the stars of today? Dwayne versus Roman, Cena versus Rhodes? I like it. I like that. I like where your head's at. Shout out to Big Enough Network. Look at the big brain on Network. I didn't think of that. Kevin says SmackDown team all day, every day. I have to agree. Blue better than red. Damn right. 100 chicken nugget challenge? No, dude, you know I can't do that. I'm over here trying to stick to a diet regimen. I'm trying to watch what I eat, my guy. 100 nuggets? Oh, man. Them nuggets are good, though. But, dude, 100 of them bad boys? I'm more inclined to do a live stream of me running. And then every time we get like a super chat, we add time to the treadmill. Because then that's actually good exercise for me, bro. 100 chicken nugget? Oh my God. 100 chicken nuggets? Hell no. Back then, maybe. But not now. I'm getting old. My metabolism isn't what it was, man. I'm over here officially unk status. You want me to go into that type of... Nah, dude. This unk gotta watch what he eats. But, dude, I still can't get over The Rock and John Cena teaming up. That's a hell of an idea. I wouldn't... And it's like Cena's at that point where he's gonna be desperate. He needs to win that championship. He knows that time is running out. Father Time waits for nobody. Father Time is undefeated. And he recognizes he only has, 9 months left in the year. Has to win number 17. Gets desperate. Joins The Rock. Becomes the corporate champion that we all thought he was going to become at some point. But never turned heel. But he does so in the final year? Wow. Whoa, dude. The story's there. And they could get away with it. They have a litany of stars to be a babyface and combat John Cena. But imagine he goes back into Super Cena mode and is mowing down everyone on the roster. We talk about Cody being Homelander. John Cena? Whew. Damn. I'm sold. I'm there. Book it. Take my money. That's a hell of an idea. Love it. 67% here for Friday Night SmackDown. In terms of San Fran 5's GM mode. And it was like SmackDown was always the wrestling show. Raw had the stars. You know, you got your guys like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. But on SmackDown, we had guys like, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Benoit, The Undertaker, Kurt Angle. I think that's why I'm more. I think that's actually, now thinking about it, I think that's why I'm more in line with those kind of wrestlers. I'm very much a fan of like the light heavyweights. Like I said, the Eddies, the Rays, the Benoits, you know, like those type of guys, the Kurt Angles, because I grew up watching them. I love Sean, and like, he's the only exception to the rule. But I didn't watch Raw, so I didn't get to see a lot of like Edge and Randy Orton and Triple H, and and I think that's probably the reason why I fall more in line with that was because I watched SmackDown. So that's an interesting piece there. Again, if you're just joining us here on a Monday night or a Tuesday morning, depending where you are in the world, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. We do the J Area Wrestling Show every Monday afternoon, but in between those episodes, we do have our live streams where we like to talk about pro wrestling, everything in regards to WWE, AEW, on the occasion TNA, and of course, make sure you join us on our Thursday live streams where we talk about a little bit of throwback topics. And this week we have a few options here on the poll. Make sure you take time to vote in the poll. Your options, of course, are recapping the events of the first ever Elimination Chamber. We also talk about the canceled and failed gimmicks in the WWE. We talk about the Ultimate Warrior and the controversies that surrounded his life and career. And of course, right now in the leaderboard, with 67% of the votes, the rise and fall of China. A lot of great possibilities to discuss in all four of these live stream topics, but you ultimately get the final say in what we're going to discuss this come Thursday. So, a lot to look forward to there. Thank you again for joining us here on a Monday night, on a Monday night recap when it comes to Raw. I mean, hey, an episode of Raw happens, and you know we're here to talk about it. We have feelings that we want to share. And again, a big shout out to our members of the J Area, people like Big Enough Network, San Fran 5, Kevin, Muhammad, Dion as well, all joining us throughout the course of the chat. We thank you guys for your participation and your involvement in the discussion, man. It's always a great time to see the different perspectives and different opinions of other wrestling fans. That's what the channel's been built on, right? That was what the foundation was, and the nucleus of the idea of this channel was to build a community for wrestling fans to come together and just hang out, man. That's all it is. It's all just a hangout. And if you choose to spend your time with us here, it's greatly appreciated, man. I could never express it in the words. Thank you all so much for joining us again on a Monday night recap. But again, in other news, we do have those live streams coming out. We do have our set of merchandise where you can now purchase t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, water bottles, mugs, and even a throw pillow, because sometimes you got to put your head up and lay down and keep dreaming those dreams. We got that all available now thanks to our friends over at ShopSpread. Thanks to ShopSpread, we now have a list of merchandise out there, and for you to become a member of the J Area and proudly rep our gear. I know I bought mine. I'm waiting for it to come in. That way I can start repping it here on the streams and you guys can see what it looks like. Super excited for that, as well as the P.O. Box that we're working on. We're working on that as well. So that'll be coming up. Again, keep in mind the community tab. Those posts are your best friends. That will always keep you up to date. And if you haven't followed us on Twitter or TikTok, you can find us at JAreaPod_. You can find that both TikTok and Twitter at JAreaPod_. But of course, the home base, the HQ, the mothership here on YouTube, that's where you can find everything. The posts, the shorts, the live streams, the videos, and of course, yours truly. We can't thank you enough for the continued support. We got another few, maybe several minutes here on the stream. Anybody that'd like to throw out some kind of comment or question in the chat, please feel free to do so and help direct the live stream here. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and start winding down on the stream. It was a fun live stream. Love talking to my friends here on YouTube, and I look forward to the next set of live streams that we have ahead of us. But hey, if there's anything else you guys want to throw our way, please feel free to do so. I'm debating I'm debating about at some point in the week live streaming 2K, some 2K gameplay, basically doing a like a predictions video and simulating the card of Elimination Chamber this upcoming weekend. It'd be a fun little recap and just a way to unwind with you guys. So keep an eye out for that. That, if anything, that'll probably be either Wednesday or Friday. But I don't want to commit to it just yet. Again, as always, the community tab. That's the place to be. The community tab is always where you're gonna find, especially the live stream information. Right now, we're looking at the poll. It's still 67% for Friday Night SmackDown, San Fran 5. It's looking like SmackDown's going to be the move at this point. I don't think it's going to change. It's been sitting at SmackDown for a while now, 34 minutes into the poll. And it's looking like it's going to end up being Friday nights. I'm not mad at it. I'm certainly not mad at it. I'm a SmackDown guy. SmackDown it is, then he says. Hey, I'm not mad at it. It's SmackDown versus Raw 2006. So the roster during that time for Friday Night SmackDown of the release of the game, I mean, we're talking about guys like Randy Orton, guys like Batista, The Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, JBL, Matt Hardy, there's a litany of Chris Benoit. Like, there's so many guys, Eddie Guerrero, there's so many guys that were on SmackDown during 05. So there is no shortage of talent when it comes to SmackDown in late 05. Not a bad choice, I think. But I think we're going to call it there in terms of the poll. Because I don't think it's going to change from there, homie. Not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, yeah, on... Did I say The Undertaker? Undertaker too. I don't know why I didn't say him. But yeah, you're going to miss out on guys like Shawn and Triple H, Kurt Angle. But I mean, SmackDown would be just fine, I think. As long as I book better than Vince Russo, shouldn't take that much. Shouldn't take that much. Vince Russo was just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stick. But no, Vince Russo, one of the most controversial figures in pro wrestling. I mean, this dude had... Man, if you saw the way he ran WCW, I know there's some of us in the chat here who weren't around for WCW. We were far too young, but obviously looking back, hindsight being 2020, Vince Russo, one of the most controversial figures in all of wrestling because of his booking style. The two glaring issues I have with him in WCW, the booking of the WCW Championship. One, David Arquette is champion. Ugh. Vince Russo, WCW champion. Ugh. The year 2000, did you guys see how many times that title changed hands? It was like upwards of 15 times. That title was hot potatoed around in the year 2000. They passed that thing around like it was painkillers back in the WWE's steroid trial. Like, these guys were passing that championship around like it wasn't a thing. It should not have been like that. Should not have been like that. But to be fair, Vince Russo was a part of the big boom in the Attitude Era and helped develop that edgier style of storytelling. But you always got to keep in mind that he had that funnel. He had that chain of command when it came to Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. And so they kind of had him on a leash, I would think. Whenever there was a crazy idea, I would like to think that Vince McMahon probably saw it and said, you know what? Let's back that up. Right? In WCW, full reigns. And I mean, look what happened there. Muhammad says, speaking of Vince Russo, I heard him planning on stopping wrestling by age of 65 years old. What do you mean stopping wrestling? Because Vince Russo isn't a wrestler. And 65. How old is Vince Russo? That's a good point, though. Do you mean like stop talking about pro wrestling? Because for a guy who swears that he's not a fan of pro wrestling, he talks about it a lot. He's 64. So we're saying this year he's going to stop talking about wrestling? Old enough to get jumped by Jim Cornette. Now that's a match I would see. Muhammad says that's what I meant. Dude, I mean, he can say that, but is he really going to stop? Like, let's be real. You can say a lot of things, but is he going to? But yeah, San Fran, I would love to see him get fight of against Jim Cornette. The fight of the century, dude. I'm all for it. They should though. So they talk about like the purge, and like how there's one night of the year where you're going to allow any type of crime activity. I would just want the purge for one night just to see Vince Russo and Jim Cornette fight in like a fist fight. Now that would be entertaining. Put that thing on pay per view, and I'd pay for Jim Cornette versus Vince Russo. I don't care if they're 60 plus. I so okay, maybe not even a fight. Just put them in the ring, not even a ring. Put them in a room together, and just debate, argue. I want to see these two argue in a real life setting. That would be must see. No, but I mean, dude, he uses bro way too much. Is that just me? This man says bro like it's a comma. Okay. As we start bringing this stream to a close, I want to thank you guys again for joining us on a Monday night, talking about Monday Night Raw, sharing our thoughts and opinions on The Rock's promo on SmackDown and the lead up to the Elimination Chamber. If you guys enjoyed this live stream, please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and comment down below, whether it's in the chat or in the comments section, your thoughts on Raw as well as your predictions for the Chamber. I'd love to see your guys' take on the event itself and see where your guys' head are at in the build up to WrestleMania. We are very interested and invested in seeing what you guys think of pro wrestling. I know this channel really is dedicated to me spewing my thoughts and opinions on the state of wrestling, but I very much would love to include you guys in the conversation and see where you guys are at in terms of your fandom. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do yourself a favor and do so. You're going to keep up to date with all the live streams, the J Area Wrestling Show, the other videos that we produce throughout the week, as well as the shorts, and consider becoming a Main Event Mafia member where you're going to get a special badge next to your name determining how valuable that championship could be right next to your name. You also get exclusive access to other content and also an opportunity to be a part of the team and don some of the merch that we have. I know I'm getting my merch pretty soon. That way you guys can see what it's all about. With that being said, man, I want to thank you guys again for joining us on a Monday evening. Appreciate you as always stopping by, talking pro wrestling with me and our friends here. Once again, give a huge shout out to San Fran 5, Muhammad, Big Neff Network, Kevin, Dion was also there. We appreciate you guys every time we see our friends. And with that being said, hopefully the week is great for you. Hopefully you enjoy the weekend and enjoy the Elimination Chamber. With that being said, everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you in the next one. Appreciate you guys. Everyone stay safe. Have a good night.